President Biden said last week he could respond to a roughly $1 trillion infrastructure proposal from a bipartisan group of senators as early as today. Joining us right now to talk about the current thinking inside the administration is Jared Bernstein. He's a member of the President's Council of Economic Advisors. Jared, it's great to see you this morning. Let's just sort of set the table for the state of play. Where are we really?
Well, we have a set of negotiations that are ongoing. They're making progress. You've heard the readouts from some of these meetings. The president couldn't have been more clear about two red lines in the sand for him. One is inaction is unacceptable. You and I have talked about the need for investments in infrastructure, in R&D, in electric vehicles, in clean energy for years now. And this president deeply values and understands the importance to our economy, to our productivity of those investments. The other line in the sand is, of course, no tax increases for anyone under $400,000. Now, both sides say they want to make sure this agreement has some pay-fors, and that is still clearly under negotiation.
When you talk about inaction, I appreciate that idea of that you don't want to have inaction. But the question is, what will, and I know you don't want to negotiate this on television, but in terms of the numbers, right? You know, $4 trillion up here, $1 trillion down here, lower even down here, depending on who you talk to. You know, where does inaction stop and the president decide, I'm going to take over?
Well, I thought you saw some evidence of that with the negotiations with Senator Capito. The negotiations just weren't headed toward a number that was acceptable to this president. Now we have a set of paths that are, we've been talking about the bipartisan group in the Senate, but there are numerous other initiatives afoot here. So I think preserving optionality, making sure there are many different paths to get to where we need to go is the right way to do this, politics being the art of the compromise. But the president has been clear in his words and in his actions that the kinds of investments and the depth of investments that I talked about in my first comment, those are, they must be part of this.
Jared, what is the administration's view of the prospect of inflation right now? I know that you've talked about it being transitory, but clearly Jay Powell has now made some, at least hints that there are concerns about it. We had Jim Bullard on the program on Friday. He was much more hawkish about where things stand. And so even if the Fed effectively were to be taking its foot off the accelerator, there is the possibility that you may be putting your foot on the accelerator.
So I'm glad you gave me a chance to talk about that. I have 2 points that I think have been not quite fleshed out enough about this. First of all, my interpretation of the Fed vis-a-vis our policies, I'm not going to get into Fed policy, of course, is that this is evidence that the rescue plan has done precisely what this president intended it to do. With shots in arms, with checks in pockets, with getting families and businesses to the other side of the crisis, what have we done? We've pulled this recovery significantly forward. Look at the forecast for GDP. Look at the forecast for getting back to full employment, to a 50-year low in the unemployment rate, faster than anyone expected. What the Fed told us the other day is that this plan is working. I don't think what they did is a sign of anything other than the recovery has been pulled forward and the Federal Reserve monetary policy can normalize sooner than expected. Now, on inflation, let me give you a couple of numbers here. So the Federal Reserve predicted that inflation would be in the PCE core, the index they watch most closely, would be, I believe, 3.1% this year and something like 2% next year. Now, it's a little early in the morning for calculus, but let's move from first derivative to second derivative. The overheating story suggests increasing inflation over the years. That is, not just inflation would be a particular level this year and a lower level next year. It would have to be higher. And what the Fed told us is that their story on inflation matches very much that of most forecasters, including ourselves, which is one of a lower inflation rate in 22 versus 21. So from our perspective, this is unfolding much as myself and my colleague Ernie Tedeschi described in a blog about this about a month ago. So we see this occurring much in the way we've described.
Jared, I know you look at the world and say tight labor market is a great situation.
I do.
There are other business leaders who say tight labor market means wages go up, which is why I know you like it, but also it means that prices go up. We watched even over this last weekend, American Airlines slashing and halting some of the flights that they had planned because of the labor shortage. What do you make of this situation we're in right this moment?
The president has said some things about this that, as you suggest, are absolutely beautiful macroeconomic music to my ear. That is, he's talked about the importance of getting back to full employment, something I just mentioned, something I think you can read out of the Fed's SEP from last week, getting back there sooner than expected, in no small part because of the help of fiscal policies from this administration. You know, we've added 2 million jobs in the past 4 months. Average job growth, 540,000 per month. So that says people are coming back into the job market. They are getting jobs. Now, the American story you told about, the airline story, you know, that's real. And we've consistently talked about the misalignments, about the bumps in this road as strong demand pulls in supply. But what I see is a market that's responding to price signals. That doesn't mean it's a smooth path. There will be bumps. But this recovery is underway. It's underway strong. And I believe that some of the supply chain constraints are already showing some signs of ameliorating.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.